We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And you've just crossed over into the trend zone. Dave here with Casey. We are the football dudes. Are you ready, brother?
I am always ready, my friend. Let's get this thing going.
Right. Next stop, the trend zone. It is Wednesday, January 21st. We're coming at you from Los Angeles, California. And it is a chilly 59, 58 degrees now on the west side here. What about you guys?
59, bro.
All
Got to
right.
one up you every time.
Every time.
Every
All
time.
right. In today's episode, we'll talk about the coaching carnage continues. A devastating injury might nix the Broncos' chances of reaching the Super Bowl. And a nug so dank, you'll be coming back for more. A little Survivor, and of course, all of the awesome NFL action coming up this weekend. Casey, but we cannot take a trip into the trend zone without a tasty nug for the people. What you got?
Tasty and dank, my friend, just like these playoffs.
Woo!
We've had 15 fourth quarter lead changes in these playoff games, Dave. That is the most in NFL history, and we still have 3 games to go.
Wow.
It has been incredible, and 10 playoff games in the last 2 weeks have had a total 15 lead changes, by far the most ever. The previous 2007 to 2008, which had 10 fourth quarter changes, including 3 in the Super Bowl, where those stupid Gigantes ended the Patriots' perfect season. And we've got, like I said, 3 more games to go. So who knows what can happen? And the record had already been broken within the first 4 games of this year's postseason when those games combined for 12. I don't know. 12 fourth quarter lead changes, including 4 in that Rams win over the Panthers, and in the Bills win over the Jags, 3, and 4 in the Niners win over the Eagles, and 1 in the Bears over the Packers. Dave, guess when that came? Oh yeah, right at the end of that thing, man.
Wow.
And then the Broncos over the Bills, couple 2 fourth quarter changes in there, and then just 1 with the Rams over the Bears, but that was in overtime.
Wow. It has been a heck of a playoff, hasn't it?
And Dave, you're dead, right? If there's only 3 minutes left and you're losing the game.
Wrong, sir.
That's
You're still
right.
in it.
5 teams have won after trailing in the final 3 minutes, Dave. It's been crazy. We talked about this season being on crazy pills.
Yeah.
The postseason hopped up on goofballs.
No doubt about it. All right, folks. Trend Zone available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast. Casey, we're going to move it into the top trending stories for this week. A lot of action, as we mentioned at the top, on the coaching front here. An unbelievable situation. So many head coaching positions available, and yet we thought it was done. It was starting to settle. Nope.
No, Dave, we needed 1 for every finger on both hands. 10 coaches fired or stepped down, dude. The Bills fired Sean McDermott.
Wow.
After that brutal loss at the hands of the Broncos. GM Brandon Beane, though, he gets a promotion, man. They were both hired by the Bills in 2017. Went to the playoffs, 8 of 9 seasons together. They had the MVP league. I'm not sure what the problem is here, dude.
Yeah,
they
couldn't fire the officials. That's what the problem was.
They haven't been able to get over the top there, and I don't know. They've won, I think, more games than anybody besides the Chiefs in that time span.
Yeah.
And is this the season to fire your coach?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many positions available. Obviously, the opportunity to coach Josh Allen is an enticing one, but there's only so many qualified coaches to go around, and in this league or this year, I mean, you just mentioned it, Casey. 10 head coaches are going to get hired. I don't know that there's 10 viable candidates for those positions.
Yeah, man. And the Bills, dude, is like, we saw they clearly didn't have a number 1 receiver, and we'll get into that game here in a little bit. But I don't know if that's McDermott drafting these players, man. It seems like they should have put a better more weapons around
Yeah.
Josh Allen of the receiving
Right.
variety.
We've been saying it all year long. With that, aside from the two tight ends, which are pretty a nice tandem there, they didn't really have wide receivers that really scared you. And unfortunately, they did just draft one with the first pick in the second round 2 years ago there, um, and
Keon Coleman.
yeah, just seemingly not did not really pan out. It's early, but at this point, it's been a disappointment. So, yeah, you wouldn't put that necessarily on the coach.
No, and the Cowboys were able to go out there and pry George Pickens away from the Steelers for a third round. You think Josh Allen would love to have that cat up there in Buffalo?
Ooh. Yeah, no doubt
Lots of
about it.
pressure though. Playoffs aren't good enough. It's got to be Super Bowl wins, Dave, because that's what the Buffalo Bills do is win Super Bowls.
Okay, Casey, there are some new head coaches, though. A handful of these positions of the 10 have been filled. So let's start getting into some of that action.
Yeah, go ahead and get started in the NFC East. John Harbaugh, he has been hired for the New York Football Giants 63. He replaces Brian Daboll, who was head coach Harbaugh for 180 of 276 regular season wins for the Ravens, 12 playoff berths, 18 seasons, not bad, 6 division titles, 4 AFC championships, and a Super Bowl victory. Not enough to keep Harbaugh employed either. Giants are like, we will take that. They've had 5 coaches since he's been there. And his 13 postseason victories are tied for 7th in league history, second only to Andy Reid. But Dave, what's been the MO of the Ravens the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, they have given up leads late in ball games. They have had stretches where they did not run the running back, the best running back perhaps in the league, hardly at all. So you got to wonder, maybe the message was just getting old there. But without a doubt, this is a prize that the Giants are more than thrilled to accept at this point.
Still need an OC and a DC there, but they got Harbs, and they're hoping that he can turn that around.
It wasn't just the Giants, Casey. Falcons had some good news as well.
Yeah, they land Kevin Stefanski. He replaces Raheem Morris. Stefanski fired by the Browns. One man's trash, another bird's treasure. So, he did take Cleveland to the playoffs twice. One coach of the year twice. And so maybe it'll be a little different there. There's some stank on the Browns franchise. Lots of stuff in place for these Falcons. Actually, I think they won 4 games in a row to end the season. So a little bit of a head scratcher. That wasn't enough for Raheem Morris to keep his job, but you got to like the weaponry, especially on offense that you're getting down there. So
yeah, I think Kevin Stefanski is an excellent coach, and I don't know that he was responsible for that salary cap malfunction that they did when they traded all of those picks away and paid all of that money to a quarterback that really didn't really do anything positive for the franchise. So despite having way less picks that should have been the core of a team, really, because they traded so many picks away, and a ton of dead money against the cap that they were paying to a guy that wasn't playing for them. And yet still Stefanski won coach of the year twice and got them to the playoffs. To me, if they should have fired the owner. Obviously you can't do that. So you should have fired the GM who pulled the trigger on the dumbest trade in NFL history.
Yeah, that perversion of a quarterback contract. Jeez Louise.
No question. All right. But I think the Falcons are going to be in great shape. Stefanski, I think, is going to have some nice weapons there. We'll see. I think they're moving on from Cousins. So it'll be imperative that they get the young quarterback up and going. Okay, Casey, moving on to the next hire. This one is a little weird for me, really, and it's the Dolphins dude.
Yeah, they hired Jeff Hafley from Green Bay, the DC there. Been pretty good defense up in Green Bay, although they kind of fell apart down the stretch. They did lose Micah Parsons, though. He's going to be the 12th head coach for these Dolphins. He was the HC for Boston College from 2020 through 2023. So Ohio State's defensive coordinator. in 2019. He's made his way around the league, so this is his first chance to be a head coach at this level. So been pretty successful wherever he's been before that, and obviously not as huge a role. So we'll see if he can turn those Dolphins around. Lots of questions for those Dolphins in that roster as well. So not an easy fix.
No doubt about it. And one of the primary questions is on the offensive side of the football, that quarterback, where they've got a quarterback that was benched for performance reasons that's owed $52 million or something like that. And he's in a competition. And who's going to run the offense there?
Make the defense so good that the offense doesn't matter.
Okay. Maybe that's the plan for the Titans too, Casey.
Yeah, they're finalizing a deal to bring Robert Saleh back, dude. Really did an amazing job with the 49ers defense this year with all the injuries they had, kept them competitive. This is his second go round with the Titans per se. If you call the old New York Titans, the Jets, the Titans, he was there from 21 through 24. And we saw them crash right down into the earth as soon as they fired this guy. We thought it was the wrong guy to get the axe with the Jets, but he's getting
can't fire the owner again.
Once they figure that out, Dave, it's going to be fine. But 20-36 while in New York, that's a pretty good record considering you're the coach of the Jets. So they're thinking that he might get a little swaggy naggy from KC to kind of get in there and work with Cam Ward. So lots of picks there. Got a young quarterback. Saleh will get the defense. I thought the defense was actually pretty damn good this year. So some new energy there. And, I guess they were looking for a guy like Vrabel, but there was none to be found. So they get the next best thing in Robert Saleh. But I actually like this a lot for the Titans.
Yeah, no doubt. Saleh, kind of obviously didn't pan out with the Jets, but this is a new situation. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see. Casey, moving on to some coordinator positions that are getting filled up here. So that's good.
Yeah, we just talked about Nagy's probably going to Tennessee with Saleh. So Eric Bieniemy, man, who says you can never go home. They were liars because Bieniemy is going back to Kansas City to be their offensive coordinator. And he was getting a lot of talk about, is this guy going to get a head coaching gig? Had some disastrous stints in college, but he had a lot of success back with Andy Reid in Kansas City. And then the Lions hire Drew Petzing as their new offensive coordinator. Dave, this guy comes from the Cardinals. Does that do anything for you?
Not necessarily, but apparently he was an ascending dude there that had a lot to do with the tight end developing there, who McBride, and the not so much with Marvin Harrison Jr., but the other receiver,
Mike Wilson.
Wilson, thank you. Really emerged. So and it seemed like he was credited with some of that guidance there and coaching. So and it's an interesting position. Obviously, they're two seasons removed from Ben Johnson there, who was obviously a tough act to follow. We found out last year. So we'll see how Petzing can do. Obviously, there's plenty of talent on that offense, so he's just got to coordinate it.
That's right. And then Brian Flores, dude, doesn't get the head coaching gig that he wants, so he gets a contract extension with the Vikings. I actually like that move a lot for him and the Vikings. That defense has been great for the last couple of years. A big reason why is that Brian Flores defense. But Dave, there's big news brewing. It hasn't been written in stone or blood yet, but it looks like your Chargers might get shock to the system, a great shock offense.
Yeah, if obviously the Chargers moved on from Greg Roman, offensive coordinator, after putting up 3 points in the playoff loss there, and just looking out of sorts. But Chargers looking to hire Mike McDaniel, former Dolphins head coach. He was pretty successful there, right around 500 in his coaching stint there, and they're looking to pair him up with head coach Harbaugh, who was looking for a head coach of the offense. So I think that means, he's going to have total autonomy there to run the show. We know that Harbaugh likes to be physical and run it with the gap scheme and pound the other team. But obviously, um, Harbaugh was looking to change it up a little bit and try something different. And this is about as different as it gets. This guy is a master of the run game, Mike McDaniel, though, but it's a different sort of scheme with the zone type running. But the Chargers are in flux in the interior of the offensive line. The two tackles coming back are great athletically speaking, big tackles, but also can move around. So I think they're scheme versatile. This is the guy that was on the top of my list. I just hope it comes to be. At this point, it's not 100% locked in. He could still conceivably bounce on one of those head coaching gigs if they offer him something. So I think cross the fingers, this one's going to come.
Yeah, leaving South Beach, what do? You come to the best coast, the West Coast. You got the beaches right there down the street from the Chargers facility. But Dave, what I really want to see is Harbaugh jump into a pair of those joggers that McDaniel wears and see McDaniel wear some of those khakis that Harbaugh wears, dude.
Yeah, they can share wardrobes. Certainly, the mad scientist coming into town has got all of Charger fans. Everybody's absolutely giddy over the situation. We just are kind of sitting around hoping it actually transpires. And then Harbaugh, and hopefully if we can keep Minter, he hasn't gone anywhere yet. And then adding McDaniel, and what can he do with Herbert, and that big arm. And there's a lot of young talent on this Chargers offense
Lots of
that could be
motion,
molded.
Dave. Lots of motion.
I'll take it. We hadn't had much motion to put some window dressing on anything. So I like the idea that there's some new ideas coming in.
Love it.
All right, Case. Moving along, a couple of bummers here. We mentioned it at the top, but a couple of injuries that are pertinent to this weekend's action.
Yeah, back in the day when a horse broke an ankle, you had to put it down. Let's hope that's not the case for Bo Nix. Just brutal news, though, for the Broncos. They get past the Bills, but Nix fractured his right ankle and season-ending injury, dude, on the precipice of the biggest game for the Broncos in 10 years, dude.
Wow.
And it seemed like it didn't even happen on contact. It was just like a weird fluke.
I do think he got tackled on a 2-yard loss that he was rolling out a little bit. And then the next play, he threw that big play down the field, which was the pass interference.
The second pass interference.
Yeah, the second one that set him up real close. And then obviously unsportsmanlike conduct that got him even closer. But yeah, so I believe he was threw one pass on it and then did maybe a trying to position the field goal a little bit, and then just walked off. Apparently even at his press conference he didn't mention it. So it wasn't until they had really X-rayed it, I assume, that he probably figured it wasn't broken, but it just hurt like crazy.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it was broken.
Brutal. Well, Jarrett Stidham is going to get the start.
Yes.
Played a couple snaps. I don't know if he had a pass this year, and Sam Ellinger behind him. So,
and the Nooch, Casey, they brought in the Nooch. Not that he's going to play a role just yet. He's on the practice squad.
Oh yeah, baby. Feel the Nooch intensity in 10 cities.
That's not the only injury, Casey, though. Another downer. This one's a bummer.
Yeah, Zach Charbonnet, the 1-2 punch at running back there with the Seahawks.
The two.
They think is an ACL. He's done for the postseason. Kenneth Walker, the third, was able to kick some total ass against those Niners. But it's been an awesome back and forth between these guys all season long. So he's going down, dude, 184 carries, 730 yards and 12 touchdowns. So Velus Jones is on the roster, and Cam Akers, who was kicking some butt until the Rams drafted Mr. Kyron Williams. So not sure what he's got left in the tank, but they're definitely going to miss Charbonnet in this offense.
Yeah, huge bummer. Some other guy came off the IR back to play. I'm not sure if he's going to be.
Isn't it the kid from Oregon?
Rookie, I believe. Yeah, so we'll see if he has any impact on the situation. But this is going to be basically the Kenneth Walker show.
Yeah, brutal for the Seahawks.
All right, Casey. Last week we poured one out for Carolina, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Philadelphia, the Chargers, and Pittsburgh. This week we're saying goodbye to another quartet of teams.
Yeah, the Bills, the Niners, the Texans, and the Bears are officially on the clock.
That's right. Okay, so moving into the three strikes Survivor League, of which I have one strike left.
Ooh.
Let's talk about last week's most popular correct.
Yeah, that was the Seattle Seahawks, almost 38%. The country loved them, Dave, and only above 7% went down with the Bills, Dave. So,
Yeah.
what did you pick last week?
I picked the Bills, Casey, because I painted myself into a corner if I wanted to pick Seattle. However, if I'd have picked Seattle and I'd previously picked the Rams, then I would not have an NFC team, and then ultimately I'd be out of luck in the Super Bowl. So I decided to roll the dice with the Bills, and like McDermott, I came up short.
Snake eyes, Dave. Snake eyes.
Yep.
So, what teams do you have left?
I have got New England and Denver and Seattle. So I'm okay with advancing and having teams in
if you get that
round.
AFC Championship correct.
As long as I get the next one correct.
Well, over 54% of the country like the Patriots over the Broncos. So,
and I'm not going to lie, Casey, lean in that direction. Lean in that direction. Part of the 54%.
Pretty solid.
All right, moving on, Casey. This is the part that everybody fast forwards to get to. It is the AFC NFC Championship games, and we are about to get into this kind of action. Is championship weekend, baby.
Wait, what did you say, Dave?
Championship weekend.
No, there's plenty of teams, right? No, it's the playoffs.
This is the weekend that determines the Super Bowl, Casey. Championship weekend coming up.
Dave?
Sir?
It's slipping away.
It most certainly is, sir. We've got 3 games left on our schedule.
Well, let's get it cracking then. It is the AFC Championship, the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos, and the Patriots are 5-point favorites on the road, Dave. And does that have anything to do with them kicking the ever-living crap out of the Houston Texans 28-16?
That might have a little something to do with it, no doubt about it. Obviously, going into that game, everybody was talking about Houston's defense, and rightfully so. It's a phenomenal group down there. But what they weren't talking necessarily about was the way that the Patriots defense had been playing and the way they really took care of business there in that victory, creating tons of turnovers, even though it was a turnover-laden game. And the Patriots had fumbled the ball a number of times, but got their own fumbles back. But their defense was able to capitalize more so on and force the mistakes of C.J. Stroud. And really, obviously, the pick 6 was a big one in that game for the Patriots there. And they were able to handle business there, and that gives them the right to play in the championship game.
Yeah, just too many mistakes out of Stroud. I know that was a brutal defense beating down on him, but 20 of 47, 212, 1 TD, 4 interceptions, 3 sacks. And you mentioned the pick 6, dude. Just had to eat that football right there and go to the ground.
Don't pass it.
And just made a couple terrible, terrible throws in that game. It didn't help that Marks and Chubb combined 18 carries for 31 yards, dude, and a fumble. So there wasn't a lot there. No Nico Collins. Dalton Schultz went out early in this game, but besides all that, Stroud just did not play well. He didn't play well the previous week either, and the defense was able to bail him out this week. Couldn't get that lucky.
Yeah, and this Patriots defense really did put the hurt onto Stroud. They just had him out of sorts the whole game. But even though May did throw 1 pick and he fumbled a couple times, they got him back, and ultimately Drake May was able to throw for 3 TD passes against that vaunted Texans defense, and they were able to mount a pretty good running game between Stevenson and Henderson there, almost 100 yards and over 100 if you add Drake May's scrambles into the mix. It was phenomenal. One-handed grab by Booty towards the
Oh,
latter portion of that game that
yeah.
really was the
Time.
separating force between these two that gave him that separation that was able to enable the Patriots to finish off that game and move on.
Let's go ahead and jump back to the Bills and Broncos and then come back and kind of talk about
Sure.
the Broncos and the Patriots going together. So Denver outlasts the Bills. We
Yeah.
had a overtime sandwich if you talk about the weekend's games, but the Broncos win that one 33-30.
Yeah. And a phenomenal football game, no question about it. Um, I think when we talk about this game and the Broncos who moved on, you gotta credit again. We're looking at a great defense that the Broncos were fielding, and what they were able to do to Josh Allen to force mistakes. The two interceptions that Allen threw, and in particular towards the end of the first half, after the Broncos had scored, then for whatever reason the Bills tried to do something with a very short clock to try and get into field
And
goal
no
position or
timeouts.
something.
Maybe
No
that was a
timeouts.
fireable offense because that did extend the lead to 10. You
Right.
got no timeouts there. You're on your side of the field.
They had
I
no
mean,
business doing anything but kneeling
no.
on it and going into halftime and figuring out what to do better in the second half. Instead, Josh Allen fumbles the football with 2 or 3 seconds left. The Broncos get up an extra 3 right there, and it turned out to be obviously, in a 3-point game, all the points really do matter. So, gotta look at that Broncos defense though. Really, uh, just took care of business in that game, and 3 sacks on Josh Allen, but really forcing him to move around quite a bit. And the way they cover guys, like we said before, the Bills don't have dudes that really, really threaten you. And that's a really great secondary that the Broncos are putting out there. So, um, kind of were able to put the cap on what the Bills were able to do. They gave up something in the ground game to Cook
Yeah.
there, but other than that, I think the Broncos defense did their part to get this W.
Yeah, and so did the Zebras, dude. You go back, they stayed out of the game for the most part, and then
Yeah,
towards the end of overtime, they get in there. So on that possession before the second interception happens, looks to me like Cooks is getting his arm held in the
absolutely.
end zone. Should have been first and goal right there. And then when Josh Allen overthrew Knox, I was like, oh my God, if they lose the game, that's the reason because he did have Dwight open. But the
And
play everybody's talking about, and we've looked
yeah,
at it a million times, was the pass to Cooks. Cooks comes down with it. The defender rolls over and rips the ball out of there. Everybody is divided on this. To me, I thought it was a catch and down by contact.
mhm.
Bronco fan clearly sees it the other way.
Yeah, and the big shame, I guess, one of the controversies again is that they just didn't spend enough time
Mm-mm.
taking a good look at it. They didn't do a good job of describing why they made the decision they did,
Yeah,
the officials, and being at such a, if the Broncos or if the Bills get that reception there, they're going to win the game.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And you're
it
right, dude.
really,
They didn't stop and look at it. It was just like the offense, Broncos offense was right on the field. The ref didn't say, after reviewing, this is what happened. Didn't say anything. It was just like first down Broncos. So I think that's probably why everybody was in an uproar too. And
yeah,
we've seen this thing called the other way as well. So the most infuriating thing about the referees is when they decide to get in the game and the lack of consistency from crew to crew, from
mhm,
actually quarter to quarter in every game.
yeah,
It's infuriating. But Broncos made the plays, played much cleaner. We talked about Marvin Mims last week potentially having a big game, which he did. And Bo Nix, dude, especially late, threw those those moon balls down there
mhm,
and got the call. The first one, I'm like, I didn't think so. The second one, I think you had to call. But
yeah.
Bo Nix did make the play. So it's a brutal that we're not going to see him next week. But overall,
So disappointing.
yeah, Yeah. Good game, 3 touchdowns. It worries me a little bit that the Broncos could not run the ball at all. But
Yeah.
that's a story for when we get into the game. So, you got
Mhm.
any closing thoughts on this, or you want to get to the AFC Championship? All
Let's
right.
do it.
So let's go ahead and start with the Broncos. Jared Stidham, he's going to get this start. Sean Payton said, "Just watch. Stid's got it. Just watch." Do we got a Hostetler situation brewing on our hands, Dave?
Boy, I don't know, man. Hostetler, I think, had more snaps under his belt than Stidham does in his career here. Um, yeah, I'll tell you what. Um, especially on the other side when you think about the Drake May, and he's in the MVP conversation for the season that he's had. So we're not just, um, and Nix was a huge integral part of why the Broncos were successful. His, nimbleness in the pocket and his ability. He wasn't always on target downfield making big plays, but he didn't give up sacks and he didn't make critical mistakes. So we'll see. Stidham doesn't seem to have necessarily that mobility factor. So Broncos offense is definitely going to take a step back. In a lot of ways, it wasn't a phenomenal offense with Bo Nix. They just got enough done. This was a team that won a lot of one-score games all season long and just won another one last weekend. So is Bo Nix worth a touchdown versus Stidham? I would argue probably yes.
Maybe a couple more. And dude, I know it was a little inflated because it went into overtime. Bo Nix threw 46 passes in this game. If Stidham does that, that's a recipe for disaster because also only 10 carries between McLaughlin and RJ Harvey for a combined 41 yards. So Bo Nix also the leading rusher against the Bills. I don't know that Stidham can jump in here and do all those things that Nix was doing, man.
Yeah, and this Patriots defense, I mentioned it when we were talking about last week's game, is a very, very well balanced defense. Points allowed, they're fourth in the NFL at 18.8 points. The total yards, eighth. Balanced between pass and run. They're ninth against the pass, sixth against the run. So it's going to be tough sledding. They're going to want to shut down the run game, obviously, and force it onto Stidham. And then you ask yourself, really, how threatening are the Broncos receivers? And it's a pretty dang good secondary that the Patriots are running back there. They camouflage everything and they don't show what they're doing. It's confusing for opposing quarterbacks. And now you've got Stidham who doesn't have, a lot of live game action. And it's going to be, I don't know what the temperature is going to be there in Denver, but it's not going to be pretty, I don't think.
It won't be much colder than it was in New England last week, and
yeah.
Stroud had to throw 47 times against that New England defense, and it did not work out well at all. That dude had 4 interceptions, and he's got a bunch of starts under his belt. So, and the Texans weren't able to run the football against the Patriots either. So it's not looking like it's going to be great for this Broncos offense. We know that their defense is absolutely legit.
Yeah, they're going to have to score.
They're going to have to, dude. Have to.
They're going to have to find a way to give the Broncos offense extra possessions. So they're going to have to win the turnover battle, and they're going to have to find a way to maybe put some points on the board or give their offense short enough fields that the points come easy. This will be a testament to Sean Payton's, coaching prowess. Mm-hmm. If he can get this guy ready and to play mistake-free football against the Patriots squad that is really and arguably a very good defense. And on the other side, when we look at the Patriots offense, you're going to have to put up a lot of points because the Patriots are the second leading scorer offense in the league. So it's not just Stidham has to put up a couple of points. He's going to have to, match points with the second best offense in the league points wise at almost 29 points a game for the Patriots. So they move the ball well through the pass, on the ground, everything. So it's going to be a challenge for the Broncos defense just to contain Drake May and the Patriots.
Yeah, and if there's a saving grace, it is this Broncos defense. We saw Drake May with a couple fumbles against your Chargers in the wild card round. Last week had
Couple
4
more.
fumbles, only lost 2 of them, but you can't keep living like that. So if, the Broncos are able to create some turnovers, get some short fields, maybe, Peyton can get enough dynamic plays out of Stidham, when he doesn't have to drive. You're okay, we're taking over to 30.
And this is the number 1 sack defense far and away with the Broncos with 68 sacks in the regular season. This is the defense that can really, really get after the quarterback. And like you said, Drake May, his pocket presence or whatever, he took sacks. He didn't throw the ball up into the air like Stroud did last week against the Patriots, but he did. Yeah, he did fumble the ball a handful of times in the last 2 weeks. You're right. So can this Broncos defense not only get home with the sacks, but also create those turnovers there and maybe scoop and score? He doesn't seem to throw too many picks, so we'll see. But the Broncos defense is going to have their work cut out for them to contain the Patriots offense and just keep it something that's manageable for Stidham and that offense to put up. It's going to be tough to put up more points.
Yeah. Oh, it is going to be. Hopefully, it's a good game. It's feeling like he could get away from the Broncos, but Orange Crush at home, Mile High, stranger stuff has definitely happened there.
All right, going to be an awesome game. Let's move on then, Casey, to our Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, and the Rams are on the road in this one. Seahawks and the 12s are favored by 2.5 in this one for the evening show. Wow, this is going to be a heck of a game. Obviously, two NFC West teams. They know each other well. Played twice this year, split the games. There were interesting circumstances in some of those games. They were close. Seattle could have gotten the sweep, but didn't get that. Turned the ball over late in that one game where it seemed like they might be able to steal
but
that.
Then, down by almost 2 scores, Rashid Shaheed turns the game around with the punt return for a touchdown, and all of a sudden gave the Seahawks life. But you know what? Last week, the Seahawks took the life out of the 49ers, dude. That was a freaking beat down, dude. And then nothing feels better than kicking the shit out of your divisional opponent in the playoffs. It was all Seahawks, 41-6, Dave, and it might not have been that close, dude.
It was an absolute beatdown, no doubt about it. Starting off with the very first touch of the football for the Seahawks as they ran that thing back. So they have a 7-point lead with 13 seconds into the football game. They never looked back after that. Really put the clamps down on Brock Purdy. And that was the second time recently that they just absolutely stifled the 49ers. They didn't have Kittle, unfortunately, and a couple of key pieces on defense. But the Seahawks, they were just really unstoppable there. Defensively, the Seahawks were absolutely impossible to run on. McCaffrey, just 35 yards rushing there. Just a phenomenal performance from Mike McDonald's defense there.
Yeah, and you flip it over to the rushing attack for the Seahawks, Dave. You want to know why they call him Kenneth Walker III? Because he had 3 rushing touchdowns against the Niners.
Count them.
Over 6 yards a carry, dude, winning $116 on it. And they're going to need more of that. We talked about Charbonnet out for the year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be all on Kenneth Walker. Sam Darnold, just a pretty quiet day, 12 of 17.
Didn't have to do anything.
Touchdown. Yeah, didn't have to. Didn't make any critical mistakes, Dave. How do you get beat? Penalties and turnovers. You keep it clean, you're going to be in that thing. And so don't get in the way of this defense and these special teams, man. They do everything so well. But when he had to make big plays, he got them. We talked about Cooper Kupp and Darnold finally getting on the same page, man. Kupp had 5 receptions for 60 yards last week. Some critical situations, 3 first downs on those 5 receptions, though. So, and Darnold didn't do much, but he had that dime in the back of the end zone to Smith and Jigba. Yeah. So every time they needed to make a play on offense, they did it. And this defense, bro, is next level.
Yeah, well, I mean, good old run it and play defense. I mean, you got Kenneth Walker, 116 yards, like you mentioned, 6.1 yards a carry. If you're running like that, you don't have to pass very much,
No.
obviously, especially when your defense is just absolutely shutting down the other team. Yeah, that's a formula that plays well in the playoffs. It plays well on the road or in neutral sites. So we'll see how it plays in this weekend's action. Obviously, they're at home.
And they tackle so well too. Not a lot of missed tackles
Yeah.
here. Play a variety of different coverages.
Yep.
Tank Lawrence, baby, has been rejuvenated here up front. So the secondary is full of playmakers too, linebackers. It's just a great defense. All right, let's go ahead and
Moving
flip it
on.
over to the Rams and the Bears,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back to this.
Fantastic game.
Incredible game. Another overtime game. Rams win 20-17, but I don't usually like to start at the end. But when Caleb Williams, dude, that fourth down, and we're talking about the losing team, was
Yeah.
one of the most incredible plays I've seen. And I've seen a ton of football, but
Yeah. It was
that
4th
had
and
us
5,
shook,
I think,
dude.
from like the 10-yard line or something, inside the 10, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 7-yard line, I think.
Yeah. And I had read, so he faded back so far to avoid the pass rush that the ball was actually in the air like 52 yards
Oh my
before
God.
it hit home to a wide open Komet back there in the back of the end zone, back corner. Unbelievable play. The that's the type of play that is historical, like that gets a name to it or whatever, if the team wins and goes on to the Super Bowl. And in this case, it's just a phenomenal play uh, that doesn't advance the squad because, unfortunately, later on in the overtime, there was, the interception that he tossed to the Rams that set the Rams up for the go-ahead score.
Yeah, I've watched that one a bunch of times too, and DJ Moore, just a lazy route. He kind of
Yeah,
rounded that thing off instead of a hard cut. If he does that, we might be talking about this magic carpet ride that these
yeah,
Bears are on. Instead, they're in hibernation. And Dave, right after that Caleb Williams play happened, we were all shook. Everybody was, but Sean McVay was not. Horse on the sidelines, like, we are gonna win this game. We will. And they ended up doing it. And
yeah.
on the other side, dude, Matt Stafford's just rewriting history, man. The dude is getting better with age, and every time they needed to make a play, they did, dude. And it would be easy for a team just to fall apart after that. They got conservative at the end, and then had to kick the ball away in overtime, but they stayed the course, and they relied on their defense to get the stop, which they did.
Yeah.
Tremendous play, and the Rams find a way to win a game when they had to have it on the road.
Yeah, and it took a lot. It wasn't the Puka Nakua show like we've seen. It was a nice mix of all the receivers there, both running backs contributing more so. Obviously, Kyron Williams, who had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. Um, just just a hard fought battle for the Rams, and like you said, punting in overtime. That's a tough one there from their own 30 something, whatever, and giving it back to that Rams team who was probably 15 to 20 yards away from kicking the winner, and just trusting your defense to go back out there and get it done. Total team win for the Rams.
Yeah, so impressive. And Curl had that nice interception there in
Yeah.
OT and 13 tackles on the day. All right, Dave. So you talked about it a little bit a second ago. This is the rubber match between the NFC West teams. 2 teams from the same division
Yep.
are the last ones standing in the NFC. What do the Seahawks need to do to get to the Super Bowl?
Oh man, wow! I mean, mistake-free football out of Darnold, right? Mistake-free, no meltdowns. Obviously he sort of exercised those demons last week, but didn't really need to so much. It was last year where he kind of melted down with the Vikings in the playoffs. But hey, can they run the football? Can they run it? Obviously, they lose Charbonnet, but can Kenneth Walker, uh, the third, run the football effectively throughout the game? If he's averaging 6+ yards a carry like he did last week, that's just what the doctor ordered for this Seahawks offense to stay on schedule, to stay on target, and then choose when they're going to strike and attack downfield. They've got the good weapons. Cup, you mentioned, has kind of gotten into a rhythm lately. Obviously, JSN has been one of the best receivers in the league this year. So, yeah, run the ball and stay on target, stay on schedule, and then find the receivers for some selective big plays.
And then you flip it over to this defense, the best scoring defense in the league, top 10 and everything else. They're going to have to tackle Puka, which is a lot easier said than done. Where that dude kills you is the run after the catch. He's going to get his. You know that. Can you tackle him right then and get him to the ground? That's going to be one of the bigger challenges for this defense. I think it will be difficult for the Rams to run the ball. So it's going to be a lot on Matt Stafford. Got the 3 tight ends, got Puka and Devontae. So can they show him some looks that confuse him? I don't know. Their best chance is to get back there and smack him. They've got 47 sacks on the season. They're going to need a handful of more against him to try to slow down that high-powered Rams offense, which has been, for the most part, unstoppable this season.
Yeah, number 1 offense in the league, over 30 points a game. They run the ball well. They pass the ball well. So this Rams offense is certainly a match for the Seahawks defense. But both these teams have 47 sacks. So it'll be interesting to see which team can get after the quarterback and which team is able to protect their quarterback and give them enough time to be able to make some plays downfield. It's going to be, really, really challenging for sure for the Rams to consistently run on the Seahawks' third-ranked run defense. So they're going to need Stafford in an MVP caliber season that he's been having to have a kind of an MVP caliber day. And if he does, and like you said, if Puka can get it rolling, and Devontae Adams has been a touchdown machine this year, except when he was not playing well with that hammy. But hopefully that hamstring is rested and stuff. But that guy puts up TDs when they get near the red zone. It's time to hit Devontae.
And then you flip it to, obviously offense, defense, special teams. Rams during the season fire their special teams coordinator. They lose the game with the blocked field goals against the Eagles. They lose the game in Seattle due to the punt return from Rashid Shaheed. Yeah. Seattle opens last week with the Rashid Shaheed touchdown. So will special teams play a factor in this game? You got to think that they're going to. Will be an added emphasis on this for the Rams. And it kind of given me Percy Harvin vibes when the Seahawks went out and got him, and he played a big part for them in that playoff run. Shaheed could be the most dynamic weapon that they've seen. And, can he get off in this game again? Dude's making crazy plays all season long. Boy, what better time than the NFC Championship, dude. It is going to be rocking in front of those 12s, baby.
It is absolutely going to be rocking, dude. And that is one of the best home field advantages. These teams don't like each other. They've seen plenty of each other. But this is not the same Seahawks team from a handful of years back, right? It is the same Rams team with McVay, and this is a great Rams team, no question about it. Well coached football team. But McDonald at home, again, it's going to come down to, I think, which of these quarterbacks can make more plays or which one will avoid the big mistake, because more games are lost than one. And so we'll see, can Sam just execute the game plan, and can they which team is able to establish a running? Neither of these teams should be able to run against the other team's defense. Will they be able to?
Dave, I'm sending you a telepathic message. I'm asking you, how stoked do you think I am for these games?
I'm receiving that you are totally stoked.
Message received, brah.
Dude, it is going to be a phenomenal championship weekend. Cannot wait for this action. I'm sure the fans out there are feeling the same way. Folks, so many ways you can check out the Football Dudes. TrendZone, available for subscription, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, now on Amazon Music as well.
Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the Football Dudes YouTube channel. Like us on Instagram and Facebook. And follow us on Twitter at Football Dudes LA. And make sure you tag us across all social media platforms.
Yeah, or just go to footballdudes.com. It's all there for you. That is going to do it for this episode of the Trend Zone. We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. For Casey, I am Dave, and we are out of here.